Good evening and welcome to the special council meeting of Ararat Rural City on Wednesday the 10th of June 2020. As per the guidelines issued by the Minister for Local Government, from the 1st of May 2020 to the 1st of November 2020, being the prescribed period, councils do not need to provide for members of the public to physically attend meetings. Providing public access to live streamed events satisfies the public attendance test during the prescribed period. Having said that, I would like to welcome the four people we have here in the gallery today. Live streaming. Council is keen to engage with members of the community and live streams the formal council meetings to make them accessible. The stream will be available to view on Ararat Rural City Council's Facebook page from 6 p.m. and on Council's website www.ararat.vic.gov.au from Thursday morning following the council meeting. You do not require a Facebook account to watch the live broadcast. Simply enter www.facebook.com/Ararat Rural City Council into your address bar. I would like councillors to please rise for the traditional acknowledgement, opening prayer and councillors' pledge. Thank you. The traditional acknowledgement, Councillor Peter Beals.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of land in which we meet today and pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging.
The opening prayer, Councillor Frank Deutsch.
Opening prayer. Almighty God, we humbly ask you to help us as elected councillors of the Ararat Rural City Council. Guide our deliberations. Prosper what is your will for us, to your honour and glory, and for the welfare and benefit of the people whom we serve in the Ararat Rural City.
And our newest councillor with the councillor's pledge, Councillor Bernadine Atkinson.
We will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the municipal district of the Ararat Rural City Council and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in us under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of our skill and judgment.
Thank you. Please be seated. Item 1.3 is apologies, and we have all councillors present. Item 1.4, the declaration of disclosure of interest. Mr. CEO, do we have any? None received. Thank you. Moving to section 2 of tonight's meeting agenda, reports requiring council decision. Item 2.1, submissions to draft budget 2020-2021. Mr. CEO, would you like to present your report?
Yeah, we've received a number of submissions, Madam Mayor. We have some submitters who opted to present to Council tonight, which will be forthcoming soon. And those submissions will be taken into account when we formulate the final budget for resolution next Wednesday night, 17th. Thank you.
Very good. Yes, we will indeed be reconvening a meeting next week, Wednesday night, back here at the same place. So I would like to invite the first of the people we have in attendance who would like to... Oh, I beg your pardon? We do need to before we get the submissions. Well, I was going to have the submissions before that. We have a recommendation, councillors, that council receive all submissions in relation to the draft budget 2021. They've all been placed in public view on the council website. And a second part of that recommendation is that we consider the draft budget for the forthcoming year and all submissions at the council meeting to be held next Tuesday, the 17th of June. So moved, Councillor Beals.
Wednesday, isn't it? Shouldn't that be Wednesday?
Should be
Yes, that is a typo, thank you. It should be Wednesday, the 17th of June. So I've had the motion moved by Councillor Peter Beals. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Frank Deutsch and Councillor Beals.
I just wish to say that for the benefit of the people viewing online that we are not allowed to engage in conversational questions with the submitters. So if we sit here looking like mullets, we're not actually, we just have to listen to discussion.
Thank you, Councillor Beals, for that explanation that the purpose of tonight's meeting is to receive submissions. No other further comment from councillors? That being the case, I'll put the motion to the vote. Those in favour and against? That is carried. So now I'll do the second part on draft submissions. Okay. Righto, so we have All three speakers this evening, I believe, are speaking to the budget. And the first of our speakers, Neil Manning, if you would like to please come to the lectern. And I'll just remind people speaking this evening that you have 3 minutes to present your submission, and I will give a reminder with 30 seconds remaining. When you're ready.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, councillors. I'd just like to emphasise a few of the points of my submission. And I appreciate there's a very long lead time in introducing budgets, and that the COVID-19 fell quite later in those deliberations. But I don't believe that the seriousness of the impact on Ararat business through the budget has really been factored in properly. And it's very laudable that you have chosen to have a 1% rate reduction. However, I don't feel that goes far enough for business to be able to get through that COVID-19 area and the recovery thereafter. Should note that the federal government and the state government hold it very seriously about the economic outcomes coming from the COVID-19, and I'd like you to recast your budget so that there can be more relief given to the business sector and the industrial sector within this municipality, so that we can actually feel comfortable with the fact that we will get through this COVID-19 with a Barclay Street which is an empty of shops. I'm very afraid that the 1%, while it's greatly welcome, while it also benefits everyone, it doesn't specifically target the real issues about what's happening with the COVID-19, and we really do need to be able to address that tonight, I believe. So I ask you to drop the business and industrial differential percentage to the general rate percentage, so drop it by 25 points and recast your budget to suit. It's vitally important that we keep the businesses in this town and so many people who are employed by them, keep them in good order, and that they can go forward into the future. So that's the gist of my submission tonight. And I hope that you, all the councils, particularly the councils that are leaving council this next election, that you remember your legacy and don't let it be empty shops in Barclay Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our second speaker this evening, David Hopkirk. Would you like to come to the lectern?
Yes,
Thank you, David.
Good evening, councillors. My submission, I've outlined the tax strategy of Ararat. I'm not going to read it all, I'm just going to surmise what's there. Tax strategy of Ararat, which is this year's proposed rating strategy, and it clearly indicates it is a regressive tax, and Ararat is showing all the effects of a regressive tax. Sadly, Ararat's tax strategy is also Ararat's main investment strategy. So this is a big responsibility on councillors, and there's a fair bit more to read in the actual submission, but that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hopkirk. And our third speaker this evening is Mr. Bob Sanders.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Bob.
Welcome, Mayor, councillors, CEO Tim and ratepayers. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Bob Sanders and I wish to speak for the submission put in by Andrea Hamilton and myself. Andrea and myself were participants in RSAG, i.e. the Rating Strategy Advisory Group, held 2 years ago. Andrea was on the RSAG because of her rural background and understanding of legalities, and I identified as commercial, but also at the time had interests in both residential and rural. This was a challenging time as we were informed that our work was very essential and would carry a lot of weight with council. We had meeting time shortened, making the completion of recommendations very difficult, and then we found we had to present to members of the community with very short notice. We, the RSAG members, managed all this, and the citizens' jury endorsed recommendations with an added proviso setting a pie chart whereby rural, commercial, residential all had a set percentile to pay of rates each year. We must also remember that the archaic system of rating was originally set up to service the land, roads, etc. We now find that they are being used mainly for people services, which is more of a taxation problem. We understand that some ratepayers feel that differential rates are wrong, but rural properties already pay per person a massively higher amount of rates than residential. If we compare the ability of commercial to rural and the ability to earn from their assets, there is a massive difference of at least 4 times. No other industry works on this high valuation asset and low returns. So it is great to see a local government attempting to equalise a very unfair system. Our farming community are at the forces of many complicated outside influences, and for them to continue successfully, we need to give them every opportunity possible. Again, I would like to thank our council in having some foresight in the inherent costs borne by our families and their necessity to the well-being of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. We did have other people originally request to make submissions, but we have received apologies from those people that they're unable to attend this evening. So that concludes the people we have speaking to submissions this evening for the budget. We'll move to item 2.2, which is the submissions to draft council plan incorporating the strategic resource plan 2017-2021. Mr. CEO,
thank you, Madam Mayor. We received one submission from the community on the draft council plan. Next year, as you know, this is the final year of council's 4-year council plan, so it's an important legacy issue for councils moving forward. We've received one submission that will be taken into account, of course, in drafting the final plan for adoption next Wednesday night. We've got the diary, the date there right too, Councillor. That's good. Thank you.
Very good. Councillors, we have a recommendation that we acknowledge that there was one submission received in relation to the draft revised council plan 17 to 21, and that we consider the revised council plan 2017 to 21 at the council meeting to be held on Wednesday, 17th of June 2020. Do I have somebody to move this motion? Councillor Hull, and seconded Councillor Braithwaite. Don't wish to pass comment? No comment. Very good. That said, I shall put the motion to the vote. Those in favour? And against? That is carried. I think we can call this meeting closed. 6:15 p.m, and I thank you very much all for your attention.